Deep in the woods, near rivers and swamps, there is a monster most people don't even see coming until it's too late. It looks like part of the forest, quiet, still, until it moves, fast, deadly, and poisonous. In this video, we're taking a closer look at Arachas and its variants, one of the more dangerous creatures a witcher can face. So grab your silver swords and let's get into it. The Arachas is a massive insectoid predator that stalks damp woodlands and swamps, having migrated north from far south over the course of decades. This invasive species found the humid climates of riverside forests ideal and quickly established itself as undisputed ruler of these habitats. Like its arachnid cousins, it is solitary hunter, laying in wait and striking swiftly when prey comes within the reach. The Arachas does not tolerate other predators in its domain, not even witchers. The creature's formidable arsenal includes powerful pincers, venom-coated fangs, and prehensile feelers capable of grabbing the prey and pulling it into the range of its crushing jaws. It typically begins an ambush by spitting venom to weaken its target before closing in to maim or kill. At rest, the Arachas resembles a gnarled mossy log, blending seamlessly into undergrowth, a camouflage it uses to deadly effect. Araxi are generally large and slow, but well protected by a thick natural armor known as carapace. This exoskeleton is especially durable on the creature's front, making direct assaults difficult. Witchers must aim for the side or rear, ideally after dodging one of its charging attacks. These charges provide a rare opening to counterattack, using the strong style. Despite its bulk, the Arachas is no lumbering brute. Its resilience and vitality are remarkable, allowing it to continue fighting through grievous injuries and heal quickly after battle. Its primitive nervous system renders it nearly impervious to pain and resistant to fire and poison, making many witcher signs and alchemical tricks ineffective. The one reliable vulnerability it has is to insectoid oil. A silver blade coated in this substance can pierce its hide with greater efficacy. Some variants of this beast have developed additional adaptations. The armored Arachas, for example, is a true behemoth. While some Araxi conceal their vulnerable sack-like abdomen under a hollow tree stump, strapping to their backs, the armored variety has grown a carapace thick enough to cover even its softest parts. It uses its massive weight to trample prey before feasting on the remains. Fighting such a monster is a grueling ordeal. Its reinforced plating can endure heavy blows, making the battle long and exhausting. Witchers are advised to bring ample healing potions and crossbow bolts and to drink golden oriole beforehand to guard against venom. Even more dangerous is the venomous Arachas. While all members of this species are poisonous, this particular breed produces an exceptionally potent toxin. A few drops can kill a grown man. Even a witcher's mutations can only delay the inevitable, if the dose is large enough. During the combat, the venomous Arachas coats its pincers and teeth in thick layers of poison, squirts the substance at its enemies, and sprays it in wide arcs during close combats. Every breath in its presence carries risk of death. As always, a dose of golden oriole is essential, along with distant base attacks like bombs or crossbow bolts, before finishing the creature with silver sword prepared with insectoid oil. Though terrifying, contracts on Arachas remain a lucrative source of coin for witchers. After all, these monsters often include humans and livestock in their diets, but to face one unprepared is to gamble with death itself. As always, thank you for watching, and if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more Witcher lore.
Powerful pincers, a maw filled with razor-sharp teeth, and venom glands packed with deadly toxins. These creatures constitute the Arachas' deadly arsenal. Since people and farm animals make up an important part of these creatures' diet, contracts on Arachas in turn constitute an important source of witcher coin. Once native to the far south, this invasive species migrated north over the course of decades, adjusting as it went to new climates and temperatures. It found damp woodlands and swamps most hospitable and made them its home, making use of the mulch and moss found there as blankets during its winter hibernation. The Arachas hides its unprotected, sac-like abdomen under a covering of hollow tree trunks worn on its back. At first glance, a stationary Arachas often looks like a part of the forest undergrowth, a fact it uses to deadly advantage when hunting. It usually begins a battle by spitting venom, then tries to grab its prey with prehensile feelers in order to drag it within reach of its crushing pincers.
In the world of The Witcher, you encounter many monsters of variety of origins, but not all of them make a name for themselves. Kikimore, however, is one of the famous ones. It was first introduced in The Lesser Evil, one of the best Witcher short stories. It also made an appearance in the Hexer series and Netflix series. So let's delve into its horrific lore and roots in Slavic mythology. Every monster in The Witcher has its own designated place. If you travel through mountains, you might encounter a hybrid like Griffin. If you are near a riverside, drowners might be there. If you see an abandoned house or castle, a vampire might be lurking. But if there is one plain you should absolutely avoid, it's the swamp. Swamps are the place where all types of evil lurk and live. It's the one place you should avoid at all costs, because once you enter, you might never leave. And Kikimore, my friends, lives in the swamps, alongside many other monsters. Kikimore first appears in the Lesser Evil story in the Last Wish book, where Sapkowski himself describes it as a spidery shape with dry black skin, glassy eyes with vertical pupil, needle-like fangs in the jaws, and bony, taloned paw. Pretty scary if you ask me. However, the game model, as you can see, is different. Like many other insectoids, Kikimore have a functioning society where roles are divided. We have three types of Kikimore: a queen, warriors, and workers. So let's talk about each of them individually. Kikimore workers are industrious and cautious, living in colonies much like ants, ruled by queen and organized into a strict social hierarchy. The workers gather food and maintain the nest, while the warriors act as guardian and commanders. Under a warrior's orders, workers can dig tunnels near potential prey, setting up a devastating ambush. But eliminate the warrior, and the swarm loses its coordination, scattering back into darkness. People fear Kikimoras, but the truth is, Kikimore workers rarely appear near human settlements, and even then, they only attack when threatened. Workers are in fact referred to as shy creatures. Individually, a Kikimore worker is no great threat. Even a child could kill one, but they rarely travel alone. A group can overwhelm even an armed traveler, leaving flight as the only option for common folk. They are quick, nimble, and immune to poison. Axi has no effect on them, and when they dig, no witcher sign can touch them. The best strategy is to coat your blade in insectoid oil. Prepare your bombs and use Igni to burn the swarm down. The Kikimore worker is more than just a monster. It is the lifeblood of the colony, a tireless servant to the queen. Where there is one, more are never far behind. Now, let's talk about a more dangerous class, the warriors. Kikimore warriors are the muscle of the colony, the ones that make sure nothing threatens the queen or her workers. If you're unlucky enough to wander into the territory, you'll know it fast. The swamps near the colony are unnervingly quiet, stripped of animal life and littered with bones. How they communicate is still a mystery. They don't seem to have ears, and dissecting one is a dangerous task. thanks to their toxic bodies. Some scholars believe they use scent signals, invisible to humans, to coordinate their attacks. In a fight, warriors are slower than workers, but they can leap across the swamp and spit streams of venom that raise a Witcher's toxicity level. Their armor is thick and hard, deflecting even the sharpest steel. And just to make matters worse, they never fight alone. Workers swarm to protect them and obey their commands until the warrior is slain. They are immune to Axii, but they are still weak to Igni, Insectoid oil, bombs, and a well-aimed silver sword. Take the warrior out first and swarm falls apart. And finally, let's talk about the queen. But before we do that, if you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe, as that is the best way to support the channel and see more lore videos. With that said, let's talk about the queen. So, the queen does not appear in The Witcher 3, but it was present in the first Witcher game. The Kikimore queen is one of the most terrifying encounters a Witcher can face, and for good reason. In the game, you're not supposed to fight her. One hit from the queen is enough to kill Geralt instantly. Instead, your goal is to run. The smart play is to use art to collapse tunnels behind you, slowing her down as you make your escape. Then use art again to bring down the Salamandra cave spots and bury the queen under tons of rocks. Finally, it's time to talk about Kikimore's roots in Slavic mythology. Though there is really no resemblance between Witcher and Slavic Kikimore, the closest thing that I found was a specific type of Kikimore in Slavic mythology that lived in swamps and was associated with demonic activities. Kikimore is one of the most fascinating spirits in Slavic folklore. She is always female, but her personality can swing between helpful and malevolent, depending on the household she inhabits. In some traditions, there are two types of Kikimore. One kind and helpful, the other cruel and dangerous. She might look like an old woman, a beautiful young girl, or even a servant. Sometimes she takes on animal-like traits, a chicken's beak, a dog's snout, or glowing goat-like eyes. When the home is in order and the family behaves well, the Kikimore becomes a quiet helper, tidying the house and watching over the inhabitants. But if the family is lazy or creates chaos, she punishes them, causing nightmares, hiding objects, and spreading fear. Children were told to go to bed quietly at night or risk Kikimore taking their breaths while they sleep. One version of the lore says she is married to Damovi, a male house spirit, and together they protect the home. But there is also the Swamp Kikimore, a darker figure associated with the forest spirit Leshi and the witch Baba Yaga. This Kikimore kidnaps children and lures the traveler to their doom. The origins of the Kikimore are just as eerie. Some legends claim she was born from the souls of a woman who died in childbirth, stillborn infants, or children who died before baptism. Others say she is the result of a cursed child, a seduction by a demon, or even the spirit of a matriarch who refused to leave her home after death. Even after Christianity spread through the Slavic lands, beliefs in Kikimoras persisted. They explained strange noises, missing objects, and night terrors, keeping families disciplined and homes clean. The name Kikimora may come from the words meaning demon, death, or nightmare, fitting for a spirit who was once blamed for sleep paralysis, said to sit on the chest of her victims, filling them with dread. Today, Kikimora is best known from the Witcher books, games, and Netflix series, though the creature there is far removed from the mythological roots. Still, in folk belief, she remains a reminder that the state of your home and your heart might just invite something in the dark to visit. Hello and welcome to another Witcher lore video. Today we are covering Endrega. They in many ways resemble bees. They have workers, warriors, drones, and also a queen. So grab your silver sword and let's uncover another chapter of Witcher's rich lore. The worker is the backbone of the Endrega colony. These are the most numerous and frequently encountered, among their kind. Within the hive, their duties include building nests and cocoons, tending to eggs and larvae, and foraging for food. But don't be fooled by their role as caretakers. When threatened, workers can summon reinforcement in the form of warriors, or if concerned, defend themselves with lethal precision. Endrega workers usually move in groups, a half dozen or more, and though they may appear sluggish at first glance, they are capable of lunging prey or attackers with startling speed. They are highly venomous. Their bite, along with the razor-sharp bony growths on their limbs, delivers toxic damage. Worse still, they can spew acid from several paces away, making them dangerous both up close and at range. Tactically, they will attempt to surround their enemies and strike from multiple sides at once. Bleeding effects have little impact on them due to their insectoid physiology, but coating of insectoid oil will greatly increase the damage they take. In combat, the venomous pincers and forearms of the worker can be parried, briefly exposing them to critical hits. Their claws are swift and brutal, often catching inexperienced witchers off guard. A wise witcher will sidestep their first flurry and strike from the side or behind. When things escalate, the hive unleashes its allied defenders, the warriors. These formidable insectoids live for one purpose: to fight. Whether defending the colony borders or expanding its reach, warriors are shock troops of Endrega race. Their primary weapon is a massive spiked tail, a club-like appendage laced with venomous quills. Driven by powerful abdominal muscles, a warrior can deliver a blow strong enough to kill a lesser creature in one strike. Their strength doesn't end there. Warriors will charge their enemies, aiming to knock them off balance before tearing them apart. Like other Endrega, they are resistant to bleeding but recoil in agony when struck with insectoid oil-coated blades. Tactically, warriors combine the vicious agility of workers with additional layer of brute force. Their poison-barbed tails can parry swordplay, and their relentless advances is often led tail first. Smart warriors keep their distance and strike only when an opening presents itself, because one mistake against the warrior can be fatal. Next are the drones, the male of the species. These hulking, aggressive brutes are driven by instinct: eat, fight, and reproduce. Drones live brief but brutal lives, most of which are spent defending the hive and eliminating any threat in their territory. As autumn nears, the strongest of them earn the right to fertilize the queen, but this act is both a climax and a death sentence. After mating, drones are killed and consumed, their remains used to nourish the hive through the long winter. They are easily to identify by their cone-shaped abdomens. They possess a range attack, launching volley after volley of poison quills. A witcher must stay mobile to avoid being pinned down, and as always, apply insectoid oil before the fight begins. The Endrega may not speak, plan, or scheme like humans, but they are ruthlessly efficient, tactically versatile, and unrelentingly aggressive in defense of their hive. So whether you face a single Scot or stumble upon an entire colony, one thing is certain: if you're not prepared, you won't survive. Hello and welcome to another Witcher lore video. In this one we're gonna talk about the giant centipede, or known as Igren in Elder speech. If you have played Blood and Wine, you probably remember them bursting out of the ground into song, 12 feet long, armored, hissing and ready to ruin your day. But behind that terrifying fight is a monster with some seriously interesting lore. According to old tales, these things weren't born from nature alone. They were said to have been created by the dryads of Brookland Forest as weapons of vengeance against humans who dare to cut too deep into their woods. Supposedly, when you chop one in half, it just splits in 2 centipedes. Of course, that's nonsense, but it says a lot about how much people feared them. One scholar once wrote, "All this nonsense about giant centipedes only shows how intensely people fear these beasts, as they fear all things that are not human." The monster was also mentioned in the books where Geralt first met Ciri. While traveling through Brooklyn Forest, Geralt and the dryad Bren encountered what appeared to be a halfling girl being attacked by a monster. The creature is described as massive, many-legged, armored, bursting from the undergrowth, unmistakably a giant centipede. Geralt quickly intervenes, killing the beast to save the halfling, only to discover that the halfling is actually Princess Cirilla of Sintra. So what exactly are these things? A full-grown giant centipede can reach around 12 feet long. Its entire body is wrapped in dark brown chitin, thick enough to deflect swords, crossbow bolts, and even simple spells. Under that shell, hundreds of hooked limbs let it burrow like a drill. You'll never see it coming until the ground itself starts to tremble. When it attacks, it moves in fast, tight circles around its prey, closing in until it can lash out with its massive mandibles. Then comes the venom, strong enough to kill a man within seconds, or, if you're unlucky, melt through your armor first. As one writer traveling through Tucson put it, "Not only do these beasts look hideous to the eye, they can do colossal damage to the flesh as well. I decidedly advise against them." Now, back to the origin story, the Dryads of Brooklyn. You know how the forest hates humans, right? In Witcher lore, Brooklyn is basically a living entity. It defends itself through the Dryads who don't take kindly to loggers or settlers. Well, legend says they once took ordinary centipedes and twisted them with their ancient magic, creating the Igrin, monstrous guardians that would protect their sacred woods. The Witcher world blurs myth and reality constantly, but it's interesting to know that Brooklyn is one of the few places where these things still live naturally, burrowed deep under the roots and moss. If you head to Tucson, that fairy tale land of nights, wine, and vineyard, you'd never think anything this grotesque lived beneath it. What's really fascinating is that they share the underground with another monster, the Shelmar. Somehow these two creatures have formed a weird kind of alliance. The centipedes eat the small creatures that feed on Shelmar's dung, and in return Shelmar keeps the tunnels clear. It's gross, but it works. So how do you even fight one of these things? Witchers use the Yarden sign. If cast in just the right time, the centipede can't burrow or counter back, and that's when you move in. It's better to always aim for the front, never the back. The armor there is nearly invincible. Once it takes few hits, it curls into a loop. That's your signal to get out of the way. In a few seconds, it will spin around in a deadly sweep that can break bones even through the armor. Now, if you think the regular ones are bad, let's talk about their creepy cousin, the Pale Widow. This one's rare, mutated subspecies. Pale white, larger, and adapted to life in deep underground caverns. It is introduced in Blood and Wine expansion, and is a fight you'll never forget. The Pale Widow's body produces a strange milky substance, albumin, which alchemists prize because it's used to brew mutagenic potions. In other words, people have actually tried to breed these things in labs. Facing one in its lair is terrifying. The earth shakes, the tunnels echo, and you never know where it will strike next. Like most monsters in the Witcher world, the giant centipedes live half in fact and half in fear. Peasants told stories that they were immortal, that cutting one in half only made two, that they were spawned by curses. None of that is true, of course, but it shows how deep the fear runs. You almost can't blame them. When a monster can come out of the ground without warning, fear is the only weapon you have. When searching for its mythology roots, I encountered a creature not in Slavic or European mythology, but in Japan. Although I don't know if there is a direct connection, the Omukade, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, in Japanese mythology could be inspiration or maybe just an accident. In Japanese mythology, the Omukade is a giant man-eating centipede said to hunt mountains. It's so huge it makes a grown man look like a child. Its body, a living wall of armored segments and hooked legs. The color shifts between dark red and deep purple, glinting like wet stone in the dark. Like the Igren, it feeds on anything unlucky to cross its path. Humans, serpents, or even dragons. In one old legend, a hero defeats the creature not with weapons or spells, but by discovering its strange weakness: human saliva. One spit-covered arrow to the head was enough to bring down the monster. Now, while the Witcher world isn't connected to Japanese myths directly, the parallels are striking. And who knows, maybe Sapkowski had read about it in his youth. And with that, we reach the end of today's video. Thank you for watching, and if you liked it, please leave a like and subscribe. Until the next video, take care.